Welcome to a new episode of our podcast, Lead the Future, Change the Conversation. Unedited, honest conversation to create the future. I'm Arjan Visser, futurist and your host. And join me as I chat with my friend Shane Pope about authentic leadership transformation. Shane is an international business director, a leading voice who promotes making business personal again and leverage it as a force for good. Shane, welcome back in the podcast, a frequent guest.
Hey, and it's good to see you again. Happy 2025. Happy
Yes.
2025.
Yeah, it's already weeks ago, but
Right?
it still feels like so much I need to work out before the end of the month to be, I was so well prepared, and then Christmas and I had time to self-reflect, and now I feel like I have so much left to do.
Yes. I know the feeling. Exactly.
So we're starting a new question topic in the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
authentic leadership transformation, a bit born out of the sequence we did, and I still run around the what if healthy leadership is the answer, what are the questions.
Mm.
But this one is really like born in our peer mastermind adventures in the last, I wouldn't say quarter of the year of 24,
Mm-hmm.
the transformation metaphors. And I just like to just discuss dialogue with you, what it means. And I ask you which one you want to pick, and I'm not revealing the other ones, I'm not making it hard for you or our listeners.
Right.
But
One at a time, Ian. You know me. I like to do step one first, then step two.
yeah. And
That's just me.
And I messed up your world by making the statement that they're not sequential. But we start with number one for you. Like,
And I think it's funny actually thinking about that and what you just this topic, authentic leadership transformation. And I'm just thinking about that word, authentic. And to me, it talks about leadership from the inside out, from who I truly am and how I'm made, how I'm wired. I must lead out of that place for it to be authentic. I can read other people's books on leadership and glean ideas from other places. But if I try to lead exactly like somebody else leads, then it's not going to be authentic, and I'm not going to have the credibility and or the authority rather compared with if I lead authentically from who I am. So I'm just making another case, my I don't know whether it's my natural wiring, Ian, or it's my engineering training, or whatever it is, scientific, mathematic. That's my background.
maybe you have to
To go sequentially, it makes sense to me. So that's generally how I operate. If I try to do something else, maybe it's
you
not
must be so happy that we read from left to right in our world.
100%.
Else it would have messed you up fully.
Exactly right.
No, yeah, well, I like that authentic. If you're not authentic from the inside out, then actually you can still lead with authority, but then it's not yours. And I'm not even sure if there is then still a thin line between living from authority or being authoritative. Because, without being authentic, you cannot live with authority without being authoritative.
Authoritative, you mean, like almost like a domineering or controlling?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Because and actually our whole world of performance and progress is ignoring this fully, because they want credibility, they want security and repetition of former success. So we have this whole repetitive drive instead of this creative drive of creating the future, leading the future with our unique skills, identity, calling, purpose.
And it's exactly right. And I think that then to me leads into that second, see, I'm doing this first word, the second word, leadership. and contrasting that with something like management, where if you've got a known outcome that you're pursuing, something that's been done before, and you're just trying to do it again, then you're into management skills, aren't you? Which
Yeah.
is awesome and needed, to get teams coordinating and working together. But to me, that's a different function than leadership. Leadership is going somewhere new or somewhere different we haven't been before, and
Mm,
then taking people with us. And I think you're exactly right. Now, if we try to borrow other ideas from the past or try to do the same thing over again, then it's hard for me to see how that fits into the idea of leadership.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and many times leadership is reduced to a skill set
Mm,
that is educated as a professional skill to managers.
mm,
But leadership is not a skill set.
mm,
Leadership is a competence, but if it's not from the inside out, it's a learned trick and not an authentic
mm,
contribution.
mm,
And and I think there is an handover. If you look to chaotic leadership, which says like you lead your people into chaos to figure out, find something new, and you help them to bring it in order.
mm,
When it's ordered, then you can hand over it to management, and then you can control it.
mm,
And that's where Covey says you lead people, you manage systems. So that's also
mm,
when it's ordered, then you know what to automate, put it in the system, put management on the system. But and then the people are released, and you can lead them back into chaos to find something new, create something new, make sure they're not lost in chaos.
mm.
No, it's just in the chaotic. They're not,
Yes.
you go in space, but you need to come back. Don't get lost in space. That's what leaders do. That's how we push people a little bit further. That's what peers do with each
Yeah.
other.
I love that distinction that you're making between people and systems. I think sometimes we can get them a bit mixed up, and we position people inside our systems to do a particular function or a job. But to me, that's not leading those people. That's
No.
putting them in a box. That's the industrial age, and we need people to run our systems at the moment. Maybe in a
Yeah.
few years with AI and robots, they will do a whole lot of it more for us than we currently. But I think when you talk about leading people, now you're into that transformation part. It's like, okay, here's this person that I've met, encountered, working together with. Where are they going? What's their personal journey? What's their transformation journey? And how can I support that person to get where they're meant to be going, rather than how can this person be a part of this system, enterprise, whatever that I'm building? Because I don't think that's how we're meant to lead. I don't think we're meant to bring people into our thing. We're meant to support them and grow them into their thing
You
as
still
leaders.
sure you want to talk about the first metaphor?
Absolutely. You've got to
This
start
sounds
from
a
the
bit
start.
like the third and fourth.
Oh, we're just teeing it up for future conversations.
Okay.
Arjan. Yeah. You're the futurist. We're talking about the future.
Absolutely, Shane. No, so the first metaphor is actually climb your mountain,
Mm.
which is the personal development journey. And those who have been climbing mountains know that it never ends with climbing one mountain. But you could, and that as a metaphor for your personal growth, your personal journey into leadership from the inside out. You want to climb the mountain. You want to be on the summit.
Yes.
If you climb to the top, you know what it takes to finish that stage, that journey. You get so much experience in the last uh couple of 100 meters. Thin air, wind, uh tricky paths, um no room for things in your backpack
Mm.
that you might need tomorrow. you know
Yeah.
every only what you need right now is
Mm.
relevant.
Mm.
And when you're on top of it, you have this, let's call it spiritual experience
Sure.
of being on top of the world, looking over the summits of higher mountains, which
Mm.
feels weird, but if you've
Mm.
been there, you know exactly what I mean.
Mm.
And the world is all has a different perspective because it's deep down at your feet, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
So what does your journey, what did it look like, your transformation journey of climbing your mountain, um, and how do you anticipate the next stage to actually get to the summit of this personal growth
Yeah.
phase?
Good questions, and it touches on what we spoke about recently about when you're standing on top of the mountain, you can see lots around you. You can see almost everything except for the mountain you've just climbed because you're standing on top of it. So it's that whole thing of taking some time to actually reflect on where you've come from. It's not immediately obvious. It takes some time to process. And I think as I've done that, there's been several phases in my life journey to get from when I was a young guy to where I am now. And there were places that seemed like it made sense to stay there. You know, it was almost like I climbed a mountain, and you get to the top, and it's like, okay, I've made it, but then what? Do you stay? There's not usually a lot of space on the top of a mountain. There's not much space to move around, you know, and so it's like, okay, I need to go somewhere else now. I can't just sit down here and camp out on the top of this mountain for the rest of my life. And often we end up in spaces where there isn't really anywhere that we can move unless we go down this mountain, leave the mountain we just climbed and go and climb another mountain in a different place, in a different space, different, whether it's a different company, a career change, a whole change in life direction. And that's scary and can be very difficult, because you're leaving behind the unknown and this whole world that you've sort of built that's working, and to leave that to go somewhere new is challenging.
Mm, yeah,
Takes
well,
courage.
it takes courage.
Takes some faith that you're going to be able to climb the next mountain. You're not going to get stuck between the two, or know where and get lost along the way. And especially when others around you are questioning your decisions. And people see, oh, but you're doing really well here. You're successful. It's all going well. Why would you want to leave or go and do something different? And that comes back to that authentic piece. It's got to come from
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah. Why did you leave that summit?
Mm.
Oh, it became a bit crowded,
Right.
and I desired for something
Mm.
new, something more.
Mm.
You know, we talk a lot about theory U, um, and if you take the book or you Google the picture, you know, it is that U shape, but actually it's the valley. And on the picture, it seems like both sides of the have a summit
Mm.
that's equal height, but the next summit is probably a higher one.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So and you will regret going down that you left the summit. You will you will regret a few climb stages up that
Yep.
you were not satisfied. But that's the thing, you know. You are grateful that you achieved it, but you
Mm.
were not satisfied. There was
Mm.
this deep desire for more. It was a stage in life.
Yes.
So how do you keep climbing? How do you fuel that intrinsic motivation that is actually the only thing you have?
Mm. Mm. A big part of it, Arjan, I think, is surrounding yourself with other mountain climbers, other people who are on a similar journey, people who have an aspiration to climb and to keep climbing, so that you can encourage one another and remind one another that it's worth it. You know, when you're part way up some scree slope and you feel like you're making 2 steps forward and 5 steps backwards, and it's hard work, and you go, why didn't I just stay down the bottom or stay at that previous mountain that was comfortable. I built a whole hut, and log cabin, and it was all good. And now here I am out in the elements again, making as much backwards progress as forwards. Well, that's what it feels like anyway. And you start to question, you do. And so I think it's important to surround yourself with people with voices who encourage you to keep going, who are on their own journey, who can lend you, extend a rope and helping hand if they need it, or at least some guidance or encouragement. Yeah, I think it's crucial.
Yeah. So when you finish a stage of life, your personal growth, your leadership development, you can't reflect. So that comes later. So you should not skip that. That's what I heard you say. You go down. Maybe you love the green fields in the valley.
Yeah.
You created some comfort around you, build a lodge. Now you have to go up. It's a journey. It's so many steps that seems like equally backwards, forwards. So you need to surround yourself with fellow climbers, fellow forerunners, pioneers that not hype each other, but encourage each other, and actually testify how great it was the last time and the last time and the last time. So that builds faith that this time it will be even more. So where in that story of your personal growth are the people that you lead?
So I was thinking about that as well, actually, and I think it's. I mean, how far do we take this metaphor? But I was just thinking that you come down off a mountain and you walk through a valley or a field or wherever to get to the next mountain, and that's where most of the people. Not many people live up on mountains. It's pretty hard to live on the top of a mountain. You sort of, it's a you spend all your energy reaching the top, and you get up there and it's cold and it's windy. There's no water or food or anything up there. All that's found down in the valley. So that's where people live. And so I think when you're journeying from one mountain to the next, you're going to pass people. You're going to walk amongst people. And I think that's where you pick up the people on your journey. You find people who maybe they've climbed a mountain like this, like we're talking about. Maybe they've climbed one before and they want to climb another one, but they're just not sure how to go about it, or they need someone to travel with, or maybe they've never climbed a mountain before, and they need a guide, someone to help them get started and show the way. And I think we when we encounter those people in our lives, we can form some connections with them and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. Let's go together. They might be climbing a different mountain to me, not in the same industry or career or whatever. But we can still journey together, climbing our mountains.
Yeah, like that. You will never trust a guide, a coach, a leader who haven't climbed the mountain themselves. Unless you grow to a level of peers, and I think that is this amazing how you like my kids, they're ending their teens, they're no longer kids. They become pioneers themselves. So now we get starting to do adventures.
Yes.
And so I become their peer, maybe I have, definitely I have the most gray hair in the story, but the life experience is what I contribute, but
Yes.
the enthusiasm, the adventure, that comes from them. And it's really great. And it just makes me reflect that's such a great metaphor actually for how we lead our people in a business. When we control them, actually we pamper them, we nurture them. But that is till an age that they start to figure out who they are and what they want to contribute, which is really great, because then you empower them, you equip them, and then they outgrow that phase, and then they become like a fellow pioneer. and not everyone, definitely, like not the 100% goes through all the stages.
No.
But if you are not an authentic leader and you are controlling them, no one will go through the stages. You know, we hear everywhere, like, how do we find the best people? Well, you grow them and make sure you don't push them away from you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you
Yes.
can't, you will never find the best people out there outside of your homegrown base, because they have the culture, they understand the DNA, they understand the drive, they understand your heart. When you are in a healthy place as a leader and you lead by example, and yeah, and that's why I think I love it when you say with the mountain, you know, they're in a different phase of skill level or whatever you call,
Yes.
but you take them with you on the journey,
Yes.
because that's how they grow.
That's it. Exactly.
And if they want more, you take them to a tougher place, and if they want more, all the way till they lead you, or you co-lead, or you have that peer dynamic.
Yeah. Yep, exactly right. And to me, that's at the heart of this authentic leadership transformation that we're talking about. I think as leaders, if we just find people to fill boxes to serve our organization or our mission or whatever, to me, it feels a bit lazy.
Yeah.
You know, we should be doing more for our people. We should be getting to know them and finding out who they are and what they're really about, what they're striving for, what their ambitions are. And rather than them serving us, we should be serving them to help them into that place of fulfilling that potential that's within them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see my camera's frozen. I hope
Yeah,
you
it looks
can
like
hear
it.
me.
Well, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, wow. Then for all the listeners who don't notice this, and everyone watching the live stream of the podcast, I just want to thank Shane for another great conversation. And I just want to invite everyone listening. There must be a hook. There must be a trigger in this story. And
Absolutely.
like I always invite.
Yeah, if you're looking, if you're triggered by what we've been talking about, that you also want to get climbing a mountain, but feel like, oh, you don't want to go it alone, because who wants to go it alone?
Yeah.
Or you don't know how, or don't know how to get started, or who to connect with about it. Reach out.
Reach out. Use the link businessrevivalist.com/connect. And I'll make sure that you'll find the right person to talk to, or just direct message us through LinkedIn.
Brilliant.
So thank you very much, Shane.
My pleasure.
And looking forward to explore the next metaphor.
The
Just
second
go
one in the
down
sequence,
line.
right? Number 2.
Number 2 is coming.
Love it.
Take care, my friend.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Ian. You too. Bye now.